Hello everyone. So, I'm here with the painting for the Bicute Dark series Albedo. This figure was released recently and I unboxed it on my channel, so I decided to paint it as soon as possible. In fact, Bicute series is a really nice series if you want to, start painting because they are relatively bigger, so you don't have too many small details to paint, and having a bigger canvas is kind of convenient, or that is what I think. If you want, you could start with something smaller, and that is also fine. But to me, like, I prefer bigger figures because that way you can see the shades better and it's easily visible from a distance. So, yeah, this time I did something a little different. For the base skin tone, I used yellow and orange instead of the usual natural brown which I use. As usual, you can see the details on my channel. I have mentioned it before. So that used to be my go-to skin tone, but this time I decided to use orange because it does leave a slightly brighter shade when it comes to the base shading, because I realized that using natural brown kind of suppress that shade a little bit, especially that is something you would notice when you're like clicking pictures. So yeah, that was something that was done differently. Then for the first layer of shadowing, again, most of the work was done with orange and yellow. This time I used less of browns. I did increase the amount of brown that was used for the shadows because that is where I would prefer to, suppress the color a little bit to give it that effect of shadows. Just using pure yellow and orange would make it a little too bright. I don't know how to describe it properly in words, but when you paint yellow and orange for a shadow, it won't look as good if you are using a little bit of natural brown to, cover it up. So, by the way, natural brown is the name of the paint from Gaia Notes series. So I don't know the equivalent for your own, brand of paints. So you might want to look into that. It's basically a reddish brown kind of paint. So other than that, I did go a little extra on this figure. I decided to add like one extra layer of darker shade just to see how that turns out. Because the first layer of shadow I painted was kind of light, and honestly, like, it was perfect. So I decided, why not go one shade darker to see how that effect comes out to be. And honestly, I liked the result. Like, it was really good. It stood out really nicely. So this is the first time after, I believe, a very long time that I'm using more than 3 layers for the skin, especially of a female character. So yeah, I would love to know your opinion on this one. Like, do you like having more shades for the shadows, or should I just go back to using 3 shades? So yeah, I'll leave it to you guys to let me know. But anyways, I liked the result of it. And also, once again, because the figure was big, I could afford to fit in more shadows. Because if it is a smaller figure, the details will kind of disappear. So when I paint the shadows, if I'm using more than 3 layers for a smaller figure, those layers will be not that easy to spot. Whereas compared to something like the Bicute series, it is easier to spot on this one because it is comparatively bigger. So anyways, that was that for the shadow, the skin shadowing, four layers this time, and let me know how it looks. The final layer, the highlight layer, was also done with orange and yellow as usual, because once again I needed to have that certain brightness which makes it stand out a little more. Well, I wouldn't say it stands out that much compared to the original, mix of colors I was using, but it still makes a slight difference, which I kind of enjoy. So, yeah, obviously went heavy with the white since it's the highlight, and honestly, it looked really nice, like the 4 layers. So we have like 4 layers this time working together, and it was looking really good. So yeah, that was the one thing that I did differently. Other than that, yeah, rest of it was painted in the regular style. I did not record painting the wings and the tail, and I believe the hair as well, because it's kind of it's a little bothersome, because I have to set up the recording and record the entire thing. So I decided to skip, because there wasn't really anything very different done for the painting. It was the same layers of gray for the wings and hair. Then finally for the hair, I went on with a highlighting with purple with the airbrush, and finally with a brush to add the final highlights. So yeah, it is actually quite a lot of work, and honestly that is one reason I kind of tend to skip the recording, because it is better if I get to take my time and relax a bit and paint. I find it easier to get through the tough parts, or rather the bothersome parts, not the tough parts. So yeah, that is it. So basically this time you'll see me painting the clothing, but not the tail and the wings. So that's pretty much it. I used around four, I believe it's 4 shades of gray for the clothes, and it looks really nice. I feel like it really goes well with the shading of the skin. So yeah, I love the the final result, and that is pretty much it this time. That was all that was different with the figure. I did realize when painting that the small jewel on her chest was actually supposed to be teal. I initially painted it purple, so I had to redo that part, mix the colors and stuff again to get it to the right color. And yeah, other than that, it's a very nice figure. I would highly recommend, getting it for your collection if you collect Albedo figures. For a price figure, these figures are really good. Like, they are big in size, they are good quality, and yeah, I believe they are pretty good compared to the smaller size figures that we get from other companies. So this and the 1/7 carat, I would recommend getting both of them. So yeah, that's it from me. uh, I pretty much covered everything. The last section of this video will show me painting the face as well, which I don't think I record as often. I don't usually prefer recording when I'm painting the eyes and everything. So this time you'll get to see that towards the end of this video. And of course, finally, the turntable view of the figure itself, which honestly came out looking really beautiful. So let me know in the comments how you like the use of 4 layers for the shading, and overall let me know if you like it, if you don't, if you have any other opinion, feedback, whatever. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll try to get to you as soon as possible. So yeah, that's it for me, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.